Hi everyone, welcome back to the part 3 of .NET Framework tutorial for absolute beginners. Now in my previous video I have explained to you the .NET Framework architecture and all the components in the architecture, and apart from that I have talked about memory management in .NET Framework as well as application domains. Now in this video, in this session, I will talk about C# programming language, the different features that C# provides, and also we will code our first hello world application in C# using a very simple console application that .NET Framework provides. And apart from that, we'll also see different examples of console applications. Now let's start off with the session. First of all, C# programming language is a multi-paradigm programming language, and by that I mean it encompasses different kinds of programming disciplines like object-oriented, component-oriented, declarative, generic sort of. And an important thing to note here is that C# can be used only to produce applications that can execute within the .NET runtime. Now .NET runtime is nothing but a common language runtime. I've talked about it in the last video, that is CLR. So C# applications can run only in CLR, and the C# cannot be used to develop applications like native Win32 applications or COM applications or stuff like that. You can develop applications that run only in .NET runtime. And it has a syntax pretty much similar to Java. Now if for people who are quite familiar with Java, you will find learning C# very easy because the syntax is very much similar to that. Now let's see the features. Now first and foremost is obviously it is object oriented, and next is pointers. There are no pointers in C#. Like basically C# generally eliminates the need for direct pointer manipulations. You can do pointer manipulations, but you have to declare that particular piece of code as unsafe code. Now for now that stuff is not required, so just remember that there is no need for pointer manipulation in C#. And next is it supports generic types and members. Now you have the ability to build different generic types and generic members as well. Now we know that using generics we are able to build very efficient and type safe code that defines numerous placeholders specified at the time when we interact with the generic item. When we create the objects for generic types, that is when we specify the type that the generic item will hold. So that provides type safety. And another feature is it supports automatic memory management. Now in my previous video I have said that common language runtime takes care of memory management by using the garbage collector. Now garbage collector is already present, and because C# programs run in the .NET environment, you don't need to explicitly manage the memory. Garbage collector will take care of that for you in the background. And C# also provides operator overloading abilities just like that in C++. And another really good feature that C# provides is partial classes. Partial classes is nothing but you have the ability to develop a class at the same time when someone else is also developing some other functionalities for the same class. What I mean is, say you are working on a class XYZ with and in that you are implementing say method 1, method 2. Now there can be a scenario where another developer is implementing the same class and implementing say some other functionalities like method 3, method 4, and when you compile both of these classes together, the C# compiler is intelligent enough to combine these two classes into a single class and provide the functionality in the object, provide all the method implementations in the object. But the thing is, you have to specify your class as a partial class. Basically partial classes helps in team development. Next is the extension methods. Extension methods is nothing but you can extend the functionality of any existing type using extension methods. Say for example you have the string type. String provides by default some particular methods. but say you want a particular method on the string type that is not provided by default. You can do this by using the concept of extension methods. I will talk about this in the further videos. For now, remember that C# also provides extension methods. Now I guess that's about it for with this presentation. Let's start off with the first console application. So for developing this console application, I'm going to use Visual Studio 2010, and I'm going to create a new project. For that, go to File, New, Project. To the left, you can see all the installed templates that Visual Studio provides, and it also provides based on languages. So you can see Visual C#, that is by default selected, and other language types are VB, C++, F#, and other project types as well. For now, let's just select Visual C#, and in that Windows, and now I'll select console application, and I'll give it a name, my hello world, and click on OK. Visual Studio will automatically create a project solution file for you, and also a default class that is like the starting point of your application. I'll just zoom in so that you can see more clearly. Yeah, so this is the class that is created by default. It doesn't have anything, it just has a main method that is provided. Now here the main thing to consider is this method. This is the starting point of the application, and when you compile this code and when you run this code, the CLR searches for this method as the starting point, and the class that has this main method, that's called the application object. It's like the starting point where your application will start running. And here at the top of the file, you see a number of using statements. Using statements are nothing but you are just importing class libraries for using functionalities into this method. For now, you won't require all these. You just need the basic system namespace. So I'm just removing the other three and I'm saving the file. System is the base namespace which provides a lot of functionalities that can be used. Next is your application namespace. It's kind of like your application domain it's like your namespace, and a namespace can have multiple classes, but one more important thing to consider here is anything that you specify as a class member should be declared inside the class. It cannot be declared outside of these two braces. So you can't write something like in C++ you do program scope resolution operator main. You can't do this. You have to declare everything inside these two braces. So let's start off with the main method. First, our requirement is only to print hello world onto the console. To print something onto the console or to read something from the console, .NET provides a class called console, and if you see at the bottom of the below the text, you can see these suggestions that Visual Studio is giving. This is nothing but IntelliSense. This is a great feature to use and it saves a little bit of time. Now this console class has a static method named WriteLine, which writes whatever input you provide to it. It is overloaded. You can see it has 19 different overloads, and if you just press the down arrow, you can see the different types of overloads that it has. Now for now, I'll just specify this string hello world, and I'm just saving the code. That's all you need to do for printing something onto the console. Now next step is to compile. For compilation, .NET Framework provides a C# compiler. For C# compiler, you open the Visual Studio command prompt and open the file location where this program is located. It's in C moog samples. Wait. oh sorry, cd c moog samples. Yeah, in this it's the first. Oh yeah, cd my hello world, sorry, my hello world. Yeah, in this if folder, if you see, you can see your program.cs here. Now you need to execute this, I'm sorry, compile this program first, compile this C# file first. The compilation syntax for C# compiler is CSC, that stands for C# compiler .exe space, give the class file name program.cs and press enter. Now .NET has the compiler has compiled the program, and it has compiled without any errors. Now say if there were any errors, say I've just removed this 2 lines and I'm saving it and I'm trying to execute, I'm trying to compile. So again I do a csc.exe space program.cs and press enter. You can see that it has shown 2 errors. The first error is it is expecting a bracket, closing bracket, and the second error is it is expecting a semicolon. So very clearly it shows all the errors that are present in your program. So you can go back to the code, do the corrections, save, and again try to compile csc.exe program.cs, enter. Now again it has compiled without any errors. Now for compiling you don't need to always type csc.exe, you can as well just type csc space your program file program.cs and press enter. It will do the same thing. Now it has compiled. After compilation it directly produces an exe. C# does not produce any intermediate object files like earlier programming languages used to. It will directly provide it will directly create the application object. If you see in this folder, you can see the exe that has been generated just now. And just for your clarification, I'm deleting this exe and I'm compiling the program again. Program.cs, enter. Now in this folder you can see that this exe has appeared. Now suppose if you want to give some other name to the exe, for that you have compiler options like /out colon, give your desired file name, my output file .exe space the file name program.cs and press enter. You can see that in the folder my output file.exe has been generated. Now say you want to generate the output as a class library, that is .dll, as an assembly. So you need to specify the target type, output type. For that C# compiler specifies gives you a target option. For you just write it as csc space /target colon, give your DLL file it's library, because your target is a library assembly, space give your file name. Now it compiles the code into a DLL. Now because you haven't specified your own file name, it will just rename it by default as the class name. Now if you want to give your own name, just do a csc space /target colon library space /out colon my output library space your C# code file .cs, press enter. Now you can see the output is just of type file. That's because you did not specify my output library .dll, so you need to specify .dll here and press enter. So you can see my output library.dll has been generated. Now to run this application, you only need to run the exe from here. Now say if I want to run my output file.exe, so I just type my output file.exe, press enter, and you can see the hello world that has been printed. This is a very simple C# console application used for printing onto the console. Now you can see that the return type of main is void, but C# provides other ways also. There are totally 4 type of main function declarations, the other types being static, int, main, string arguments, and the next one being static, int, main without any input parameters, and the last one being static, void, main without any parameters. The reason why there are 4 different types of main and different return types, I'll tell you in some time. For now I'm removing this code, and let's just make our code a little bit better. Now if you see here, the argument, there is a string argument parameter that this main function is accepting. This is mainly to accept command line input, accept input from the command line, that is from the console. So whatever input you give at the console is automatically converted into a string and loaded into this string array. So let's just test that. For now I'm just commenting out this code. Let's just imagine that we have a requirement that we need to print whatever command line arguments that have been passed to this program. So for that purpose I'll use a for loop to iterate over the individual elements of this array. I'll define a iteration variable. I'll initialize it to 0, and I'm specifying the condition here, args.length. This length is a property of string array which basically gives the number of elements that are present in the array, and then I'll specify an increment operator, and I'll just print the value whatever that has been provided in the command line input. So args of I. So what this program does is it just accepts command line input into this string array and iterates over each element in the array and just prints each element of the array. So let's just test this. Okay, I'm compiling the code, CSE program.cs. It has compiled without any errors, and now I want to execute it. So program.exe. Now because I have to specify command line arguments, I just give a space and give all the arguments. Now let's just say the first argument is C#, second argument is video, third argument is third something. So let's just say this is the third and this is the fourth. I'm now pressing enter. Now you can see the output has been printed. Each input command line argument has been printed at every line. Now another way of printing is by using for each loop. Now, C# also provides a for each loop, which is pretty much similar to for loop. You basically iterate through each item of the list. So for now its syntax is simple. For each string, say str in arguments, just print the arguments. Console.writeLine, just print the string. I'll just comment this code for now, and again I'll compile. I do a CSC program.cs. It has compiled without any errors. If you see program.exe, yes, the reason it did not print anything was I haven't specified any arguments. Now I specify the first argument, I specify the second argument, I specify the third argument, and press enter. So you can see all the arguments have been printed. Now C# also provides another method of getting the command line arguments, that is through the environment class. The environment class is present in the system namespace, and it provides a method called get command line arguments, get command line args. This basically, if you see, this returns a string array. So I define a string array, my args equal to environment.get command line args, and again I do a for each string in my args. I just write the same thing. So again I'll compile the program. It has compiled without any errors, and now I'm gonna execute it. .exe environment argument 1 or 2. I'm just specifying 2 arguments. See, here you can see even the name of the exe has been printed. That's because get command line arguments just returns everything that has been given in the command line right from the beginning. That is this point. It specifies, it returns everything as an array element. So program.exe goes as the first element of the array, env arg1 goes as the second element, env arg2 goes as the third element. So if you want to print only the arguments, you can write a for loop for int I equal to 1. You can initialize the variable as 1, I less than my args dot length, and put the increment variable and just print. My args of I. So this would give me pretty much the same result. If you see, I'll just delete this. CSC program.cs, it has compiled without any errors, and program.exe space 1 2 3. So see, you can see check 1, check 2, check 3 have been printed. Now even if I remove this, I will have the same output. Let's see. I'm compiling. Now I'm running. See. So basically it doesn't accept directly, it will get from the environment. This method will return the command line arguments into this string array that you have declared. So that's about it in this session of the video. In the next session, I'll talk about data types in C# and control flows. I'll talk about arrays. I'll talk a little bit about the parameter passing in methods, and also I'll talk about enumerations and struct. So if you find this useful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you find this useful.